Okay. Good evening. I'm Orit Nahir, the chairperson of Jerusalem WIZO branch, and we are welcoming you here today to a meaningful evening. And we hope to see you again, not only in like events, but also in other events. And we really appreciate your time and your efforts to come here this evening. Although the weather, although Pesach, and although all the other things that exist, this project, this evening, we do together in collaboration with AACI.
AACI. She'll never learn.
And I'm not an English speaker from home, although I grew up in France also. So we really wish you a good and meaningful time. And I will give the authority to Atara to continue.
So welcome everybody. We have here people who came to WIZO in Beit Kerem, came in person, and there are a lot of people who are watching it at home on Zoom. And also this evening is being recorded, and we're going to use it later on if people want to join. This, as Orit said, thank you Orit, this is a collaboration between WIZO Israel and AACI. In AACI we have a project named AACI Remembers. It's a project about commemorating the fallen soldiers who have ties with North America. This is a part of the project. We're going to have a ceremony, an annual remembrance ceremony on April 27th. By Sharagai. It's very meaningful. You're all welcome to join. I'll send you information later on, or we'll send you more information. So this is just part of a bigger project called AACI Remembers. We have a website. There's information there too. It's called aciremembers.org. And like Orit said, it's very meaningful that you came Erev Pesach. And what is Pesach all about? It's about remembering. We remember the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim. And here tonight, we're going to remember the story, and we're going to re-remember the people, the loved ones who fell in Israel. And in terms of Pesach, Pesach is also about Avdut Lecharut, coming out of slavery and coming out of captivity into freedom. So I want to wish everybody that this Pesach is going to be really about freedom, and especially for those who are hostages in Gaza, they should have real freedom, and Bezrat Hashem will all come out shortly. And thank you all for joining again. Erev Pesach, much appreciated. And back to you.
So, good evening to you all. My name is Inbal Ras-Gilmore. I am a widow from a national loss. From many years ago, when I was a young mother, I lost my husband. He was killed in a terrorist attack. And since the war started, I am working with families who just joined this circle that nobody chooses to be part of, just to share with them, listen and support. And it's a privilege for me to do that kind of work and to be part of their life and assist in the little that I could assist with, for them to understand the path, what they're up against. And it is a privilege and honor to sit with you today, with all of you, and to hear from you your thoughts and what brings you here to this panel. So we'll start with you. Introduce yourself, please, your story.
Okay, my name is Atara, and I lost my brother in '82 in the battle in Sultan Yaakov. I was 17 years old. Do you want me, I could speak about him a little bit?
Yes.
So he was my older brother, and not the oldest, but he was the brother that I relied on. I had 5 brothers, no sisters, so he was like my big sister, I guess, because he was very interested in everything I did and always wanted to give me advice. And He was studying in Yeshivat Kotel, Yeshivat Hesder, and I was very, very proud of him. I used to go to the old city on Friday nights when they used to dance down from the yeshiva down to the Kotel. I used to look for him and find him and follow him down to the Kotel. And on Shabbos afternoons, my father coming from a Yeke home, we had to eat exactly at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So my brother, when he wanted to go to the Kotel, he went really fast, came back really fast. Every step of his was like 3 running steps of mine, but we used to go quickly and be back on time. And anything I needed advice about, whether it was the army or friends, boyfriends, whatever I needed, I turned to him. He received from both my parents very, very, very strong love for Israel and Zionism. And before they had Taglit, before they had Birthright, they had a program in Kiryat Moriah in Jerusalem where they introduced Shabbos to kids who never experienced Shabbos in their life, and he was a madrich who would take these kids, and I even went with him once or twice, and he would explain to them. They would create entire Shabbatonim. I went with him once to Tkoa. They did it a lot in Kiryat Moriah in Jerusalem, and he just was a person who was driven by his love to Zionism in the country, and to the extent that I know personally of quite a few people who made Aliyah because of him. He was, in the youth that he would guide, and then years later, I'd meet people and they'd say, yeah, he was the person who motivated us to get up and come here. And yeah, that's about it. That's what I say.
Thank you.
Lisa Weinstock-Zendelman. I'm here because on the 10th of December, which was the 3rd day of Hanukkah in 2023, we got that dreaded knock on the door, and our son Ari was killed in Khan Yunis. We made Aliyah in 2005. Ari was 14 years old going into 9th grade, and for some people that would have been a major drawback and a difficulty, and we sort of laugh about it now because we were never allowed to say how intelligent Ari was when he was alive because he hated it, but it just so happened that Ari was truly brilliant. It's not just that every parent says that. Ari, within a couple of months, was excelling in high school, in 9th grade. There's this famous story that was, we thought it was a rumor, but we found out during Shiva that it actually happened, that there was a faculty meeting at the high school, and somebody actually, one of the teachers said, we really should give Ari's 10 points for being, led to somebody who really needs it. Of course, you can't do that, but, and the teacher who said it came clean during Shiva and said, yep, I said that about him. Ari was the oldest of 5 children, Shira, Eli, Yonatan, and Eitan. He was the ultimate big brother. All 4 of them looked up to him all the time. Tried to do whatever he did. He was definitely a leader, but as they would say today, they said he taught them. He taught them also how to lead, how to make decisions, and how to move forward in their own lives, in their own way. Ari he was a reader, forever and always a reader from the time he was in 1st grade. Always had a book, or a Mishnah, or both, and we would be on a tiyul or a vacation, and there would be 20 minutes downtime, and we would find Ari under a tree with a book. I said, if you have a book, you're never bored. So take a book. That included books into Army and Sadir. It included books and Mishnayos. into Khan Yunis. How he did that, we don't know. Ari was father of 3 children, husband Chava Landau Zendelman. Achia, when Ari was killed, Achia was 5.5. Tali was almost 3, and Mayan was born Erev Sukkot, so she was 10 weeks old. We had the privilege of spending the day today with Achia and Tali at Magic Cast at the amusement park. And if I kind of like moved my hat, you'd see this crazy braid that I did with Tali with different colors. She chose the colors. And he would want more than anything else to be remembered as a father, a husband, son, brother, friend. And I've been asked before, it's like, so what kind of a hero was he? He had no intention to be a hero, but he took Miluim very, very seriously. It was not something that he put aside ever, and again, he went out there simply because it was his responsibility. He felt it was his responsibility. And so on October 7th, he once again, because the country asked, put on that uniform. He was privileged to come home 4 times, briefly, and those times were very, very special, and everybody in the family tried to pop in, but leave him with his family and with some privacy. So we are fortunate that Chava is a wonderful, wonderful mother and daughter-in-law, and we have 3 beautiful grandchildren from Ari and Chava, and I know there's a lot of questions, and some of the other things that I would say will come up then. So.
Hello, my name is Tamar Eisner James, and I live in Kibbutz Saad, near Gaza. And I was a Rose Lupin mother. And
Yes, because we need to really hear what you have to say.
we adopted Rose before almost 3 years before she died. And Rose came to Israel because she was very Zionist, and she arrived to Saad in Garin Tzahar, and we win that they decided that שהיא תהיה איתנו. אני אעבור לעברית.
אני אתרגם.
את מבינה עברית?
כן.
אוקיי, אני אעשה את זה עברית פשוטה.
אני אתרגם. פשוט תדברי ואני אתרגם.
ובעצם רוז הגיעה אלינו באוגוסט 21, אחרי שהיא הגיעה לארץ באפריל 21, והיא הבינה שהיא רוצה להתגייס. היא באה ממשפחה מאוד מאוד ציונית ומאוד אוהבת ישראל, ושידחו לנו אותה. They do a match with us, and she came the first time to us and said, don't speak with me Hebrew, don't speak with me English, speak with me only Hebrew. I want to learn Hebrew because I want to go to Magav. And we laugh because we know that it's not so easy to arrive to Magav, and all Zalon soldiers want to get to Magav. And we laugh, and we didn't understand that Rose was very actiony. And
Determined.
she did all the things to arrive to Magav, and she murdered in November 6th. After 1 month, we live in hotel since October 8th, and then she killed. And after that,
Okay, so my name is Dilit Strigler Noller. I'm 34. I'm married to Ziv, mother of Matar. I was born in Ginot Shomron in Israel and grew up there. My parents still live there. My brother Nadav was killed July 1st, 9 months ago exactly. He was killed in Tzir Netzarim, that's the north of Gaza. He was 30 years old, Nadav. He was 3 years younger than me. He was in Miluim also. It was his third round already. He was very, very into Miluim, and when they called him October 7th, they were in America. He was married, Nadav. He was married to Nadav, and they have a son, Yael. So he's 2 years old now. He was a year and a half when Nadav was killed. October 7th caught Nadav in Florida, visiting my grandparents and doing American citizenship for his son, Yael. They got on an airplane. October 8th, they were back already. He was like fighting with people in the airport to get on the plane and come back just to go to Miluim. They were up north for a few months, him and his friends from Miluim. And they landed in Israel October 8th. He left Hadar, his wife, and baby Yair at her parents in Givat Shmuel and went right up north. I remember, like, we said, you're crazy, like, what's going on? We were all in it. We were all our husbands were meguyas. We said, wait 1 night at least. And he went right up. He was the shomer laila because he was jet lagged. Like, he was in it, legamre. It took him a few days to get back to the maslul, to get back to the hours. So he was up north for a few months at the beginning. And then they did a few months in Otef Aza around, and then a few weeks before he was killed, they were called into Aza already. But Nadav didn't think he was in a dangerous place. He always said it's the best thing he should do for Israel. So he left married with 5 children at home. Nadav was the middle. A lot of friends, family, his wife, his son. At the Sheva, my husband and I, we lived in the Nechemia near Ariel. And at the Sheva, we decided we're moving to Yerushalayim to live right near my sister-in-law. For us, not for her, for us, because that's how we see Nadav every day, by playing with his son, his son's age. So we get to spend every day with them. And no, that's it.
Thank you. Every word has a lot of power to connect, to inspire. Tamal, thank you for finding the words in a language that you're struggling in order to tell us about Rose and the connection that you had with Rose, and just by looking at you and the way it brings everything up and the way you're handling it is unbelievable. And you'll continue to share with us this special story about your connection with Rose and her family, her parents in America. And I'm sure that story would be very meaningful for everybody to hear and to learn from. And that brings me really to my second question to you. We often talk about the support that we get, and sometimes we can't explain or translate our emotions and our needs to the people around us who are not part of this family in any way, not through blood and not through that special connection that you made with Rose, and we have here in the audience. another connections that are not the typical ones, but still are important and they need to be heard. And I would love if each and every one of you would try to think, even though it's not easy to ask. Sometimes you don't know what to ask, you're not sure, and sometimes you feel uncomfortable asking because most of the people, most of the families that I met, they're not asking for much. They want their loved one to be remembered, but it would be it would help the Israeli society, the diaspora, to know what helps you, what's something that you want, if there's something that you want to share.
I sent you a link.
That worked for you.
I asked them to send you a link. Look in your email.
the volume all the way down? Mute?
פשוט צריכים להשתיק את זה מהמחשב שם.
Specifically, but if you know that something worked for one of the for the kids who were left and or anything that you can think of, it would be it will help the Jewish people here in the diaspora maybe to build resilience and to become better. So
I wanted to say that a long time ago when my brother passed away, there was no awareness for siblings or for girlfriends or fiancés or even in many ways. I mean, there was no awareness of post-trauma, and there was a lot of lack of awareness. Luckily, I'm a very, very talkative person, so I spent my life talking and getting the support that I needed. I was always surrounded by very good friends. And I went to places also to speak, and I spoke of also groups from the United States. I always spoke, whether it was to friends, to family, not to my mother, because I knew her pain was too big and she wanted to spare us the pain, we wanted to spare her the pain, so it wasn't talk. That's how it went back then. I think maybe today people talk more, but when I lived in Manhattan after I got married for a while, it did kind of strike me that the Orthodox communities, modern Orthodox communities, they all celebrate Yom Ha'atzmaut, and none of them are, that I experienced back then, I don't know how it is today, were aware of Yom HaZikaron, or that it was adjacent to Yom Ha'atzmaut, and there was nothing in the schools and nothing done, and I think that that's something that the diaspora could definitely take upon themselves to embrace and to do. I think that would be meaningful for them, meaningful for us, and meaningful for the connection between Israel and the diaspora. And it's something that crosses all different denominations of Jewry, so it's uniting here and it could be uniting there and uniting between us. I wanted to say that in the audience is sitting somebody who was a girlfriend of her name is Adina, and she dated my brother, and because it was so long ago, she did not have the kind of support that people have today. And so I was told by the panel that she could also come up and speak whatever you say. I mean, because there's a huge difference between people who get support and people who've gone through the trauma without support. So I have a need to give it to Adina.
This is very special that when we were talking, you made sure that we are going to give the space and the legitimacy that weren't given to you.
Wait a second, I could
Okay.
switch with her.
Okay.
I'll switch from there.
So I would come directly.
Thank you.
So it's unfortunately sometimes the system is looking at us through the way the law defined how to treat families like us. And the people who are falling in between are people like you. And during the years, I got phone calls from girlfriends asking me if it's okay to say that they connected to every word I spoke in a lecture that I gave or in a magazine that they read, and is it okay? And I said, of course it's okay. Why are you asking permission? He said, because we weren't married. And I said to them, you're feeling the loss the way I am feeling the loss, and you should be acknowledged. So we're acknowledging you.
Thank you. Okay. First of all, thank you. My name is Adina, and
Closer.
okay, my name is Adina, and I was, and I still am, and I always will be, just a girlfriend. I had no status apart from the wonderful family, the Lando family, with whom I thought my life would, be, I would have a future as a daughter-in-law, as a sister-in-law, or whatever. The whole family has embraced me from day one. I did not get that. I did not have that chance to join the family the way I had envisioned. Julie and I shared a very special moment. The one thing I'm deeply grateful for was that we had a chance to say goodbye. And when Yair got his the Tzav Shmone, I ran to the house. We got in the van. We helped him pack. We took him, and we went to Romema. And I went there a couple of years ago, back to retrace my steps, and at the recruiting center. And you and I were the last two people who actually have seen him, like in Ezrahut, the last civilians. So having said that, oh, you're just a girlfriend, everybody was trying to encourage me, you're young, you'll get married, you'll do that. No notion, like Atara said, and no idea of PTSD, none of us knew anything. And sure enough, that's what, life went on. I did. I married, as a matter of fact, his friend, and all very well. We have family. And many years later, down the road, I was doing some work for the Institute, I forgot what it is, something, Center for the Treatment of Psychotrauma. I was doing some translation, and we were preparing manuals during the Intifada for the schools. And I'm, doing trauma, this, that, I knew nothing. And all of a sudden, sudden loss.
Yoadi, why are you bothering her? Come here,
the words were jumping off the page. It was 28 years later or something. And I said, oh my God, I believe that was me. I went through something that I did not address. I did not go through any, apart from a few months at the beginning. We had a trip, we went to Lebanon. I was included in every step of the way. I was the undisputed girlfriend because Yair liked the ladies and they liked him. I was the girlfriend. And it was very important for me to say that, and that was all these years. We see each other every year, Askarot, and then, on whatever occasions. And, Atara and I are like sisters because even though we don't talk to each other often, right away we have this bond. I used to stay in her room, we shared a room. She was thrilled to have another girl in the house. And I have no sisters, so, you know, and I'm alone in this country. I came here almost 50 years ago. I'm very excited to tell you that. I made all these notes. I'm not saying anything about anything, but what I want to say, though, is most importantly, is how much that loss impacted me. And I only realized it many years later. My marriage dissolved. I had a lot more time to start addressing the grief, and I found a group. Nowadays, there is a group that was founded by a mother of somebody whose daughter was engaged and the guy was killed, a family book or something like that. And I was able to go and get some help for the first time. I met other ladies like myself, and you know, there's many of us, you know, from way before, 48, 56, you know, 67, you know, people, and that helped me a lot for a while, and then it kind of ran its course, and you know, since then, but probably the most, I don't know what the word is, you know, the life that didn't happen, the life that did not take place. I was not a widow, thank God. We didn't have kids, you know. It didn't have to deal with that. There's very little to hang on to except the memories. I write a lot. I wrote a lot. I've given interviews, you know, very sporadically. Many times been asked to say something at the Ascarat or whatever. So that's, in the meantime, that's what I have to say. Oh, just one more sentence, because I'm probably going to forget to say this, and it's very important. I spoke at the 30th anniversary. We have dedicated, there's a library at the OU Center, which I don't know where it is anymore, but on Karen Yesod, and I was asked to speak. And the last thing I said, and I just want to make sure I say it tonight, it was an honor and a privilege to have had Yair in my life, and it was by far the best time in my life. Thank you. So if I say nothing else, that's what I say.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow.
What was our original question? Sorry. No, it's fine.
We want to know if you can say it. If you don't know what you want from the Kehillah here and abroad, the Tfutzot, the diaspora, or just the Israeli people.
Do you want to speak instead of me?
That one.
On that one? Okay. I'm switching with my husband.
I'm Rob, I'm Lisa's husband. Ari's father. This question was asked to me a couple months ago, so I just want to read to you what I wrote. And I'll read to you close what happened.
Microphone.
Yeah, okay. Har Zion made a movie, Serving on All Fronts, which featured Ari. After the movie was shown in the U.S., a rabbi in the congregation in New Jersey contacted me. He was moved by a segment of the movie about Ari and wanted to know more about him. During our conversation, he asked what additional actions Jews in the diaspora could perform to help Israel. It wasn't a question I had thought about, so I requested some time to think about it, and I sent him an email afterwards. And told him that from my perspective, and maybe from your perspective as well, I think that we need American Jews to reclaim Zionism, because it is being redefined into something that it is not, and is being used to denigrate us, to denigrate Israel, to denigrate Jews. So the World Zionist Organization stated that the aim of Zionism was to establish a national home for Jewish people secured by public law. So Zionism can be defined as a national liberation movement of the Jewish people so as to promote Jewish self-determination. Nothing more, nothing less. On the other hand, Zionism has been redefined by our enemies to the point where we have incidents like protesters in UCLA asking Jews, "Are you a Zionist?" A student in Columbia saying Zionists don't deserve to live, and the Jewish Voice for Peace, I just love that term, saying that Jewish Voice for Peace is guided by a vision of justice, equality, and freedom for all people. We unequivocally oppose Zionism because it is counter to those ideals. Our enemies deny us the right to self-determination. Nothing more, nothing less, nothing new. They seem to want to live in an Orwellian universe where all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
Not answering question exactly, because my place, it's a little bit complicated, because I'm not really family of Rose, but I know Rose in the last 2 years of her life and a half. We know her more than her parents. And her uncle that sit here know Rose like us, because the 2.5 years she lived here, she was far away from her parents and family. And when we decided to adopt a lone soldier, I told the woman that organizing that we want a woman and not men, because we know it's less dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And now our position is not like mother and father and sister, because it's like Hilary. We know her, but after her death, we know her better, because we was in Atlanta 3 months, and we know her, really know her, not like before she died. And it's very, very complicated for us. And now we are in relationship with the family more than we were before her death, and it's very, very complicated, because I ask myself, why just now? We know our parents, they was in one Shabbat before a ceremony in the first of the, בתחילת הטירונות, in the first training, and in the end, but when she got מצטיין, they cannot come, because it was from today to 2 days, they told us to, and we were there, and it was Idan and my son were there, because I worked, and we was here, her family, but we didn't. Now we know her better from during the 2.5 years she was in our home, and it's very complicated to sit here and to feel the same.
So, no, I'm just going to say something to Tamar, that I'm as a sister, when Adab was killed, so when they knocked on our door and told us, so one of the first things they said is, we have to call his friends. And the whole Shiva, his friends were like walking around because they don't have who to sit with. And the whole Shiva, I was telling them, come sit, you guys need to sit Shiva. The whole week, they all took off a week of work. And I felt so bad for them that the day after the Shiva, they all had to go back to work. All his friends and his friends' parents, and people not from the first circle. And I always, like the day we got up from Shiva, we had all his friends over for like a barbecue in a garden. And I always said, everyone sees us now, like everyone remembers. But then they lost a friend, and they lost, and people in shul, his friend's parents, like walk up to my father. Last week someone walked up to my father and said I cry about my dad every day. And they go down to the cemetery once a week. People from the community. And it's people that they're not on the paper, Nadav's family, but they're a big part of his life, and he was a big part of his life. So I think it's a big thing, and you guys are very part of it. And the question was about how the community מחבק, כאילו איך זה מחבק, הקהילה.
If you want to say what you need, and because you described how your closest community and friends are supportive, you basically said that they're part of the loss, that they're feeling the loss. But what are you asking the Kehillah, the people of Israel, the diaspora?
So first thing, I think we feel the big hug from everyone, also from the Kehillah in Israel. Like my sister-in-law says, people have been knocking on her door since, just bringing cakes and like coming, and before Chagim, people just like knock or just leave near the door something. Last week she got a huge suitcase of clothes for Yair, for baby Yair, from a community in America. And I already got a few Zooms before Yom Zikaron of schools from America that want to learn about Nadav and do stuff about Nadav and meet us. I think there's a big hug and a big help. And we're still in a milchama. It's still going on, and my husband's still in the army, and my brothers are still doing miluim. And I think the big thing is to remember that it's still going on. Nadav was number one in getting tziyud for the army, getting weapons and like trumot. Equipment for the army. He was very, like, communities in America were giving, Nadav was very, very into it, and the times we went to the airport to like get the suitcases and the stuff that he called us from in Gaza, go get that and go get that. And I think they gave a lot, stuff that Israel needed help with right then. And the help goes on the whole time. I think we feel the hug and we feel them being there. The hard parts are before the Chagim be'emet. And I think Hada, my sister-in-law, and Chava that I know, they feel the hug of Israel, and it's the daily things that something that there's a amukah that once a month sends them home something. Stam, before the winter they sent like 2 cups of tea and some tea and cookies. Like every month they think about something else. That's a nice thing. Like a lot of small nice things to do. My father gets home every Shabbos, challahs and cakes from the community, like just to remember that we're not alone in this, that Nadav didn't fall because he's Nadav. He fell as a chayal, he fell from Medinat Israel, not as my brother. He didn't die because he was my brother, he died because he was a soldier for Am Israel.
In terms of community, we felt this all along, was that I remember a point where Ari spoke at his Misibat Simcha high school, which was very unusual after being in Israel only 4 years, and they asked him to be the class speaker. And so I remember this like it was yesterday, walking out, that one of his classmates' mothers looked at me and said, Ha'oleh shalanu. And when she kept coming during Shiva, and then afterwards one day I looked at her and said, Ha'oleh shalanu, said Makara. But the community takes incredible ownership. It was several months in where somebody said to me, you know, there's a big poster in the window of the Makolet. I never saw the poster until somebody told me about it. But there was this huge poster there for months, for like 8 months, about Ari and the Bnei Akiva and every group and the schools. It's an ongoing support system in terms of them doing things in memory of Ari. And then there's the community that we sort of put a stop to this because there was food coming every Shabbat. And sometimes it would just be the 2 of us and the people it was on occasion a little bit ridiculous because we were giving it away. So you definitely, I'll take you. You feel the hug from the community, and from abroad, that people who we knew, friends of Ari's from when he was a child, who organized things at schools and in synagogues, and then it became the boys who were here for a year or two for yeshiva and Har Etzion and all that, who are now in major positions. Some are rebbeim, some are in they're older now. Everybody has good jobs, but they have organized major events around the country and teaching classes and telling their students. And then the most amazing thing was that in December, before Ari's Yortzeit, one of his good friends from yeshiva, a boy who was here, who's now an assistant rabbi in New Jersey, he said he was setting up a Zoom with all the boys from that year. And it was funny, we were coming home from one of the first weddings we had gone, I think it was maybe the second wedding we had gone to in the entire year. And we were in the car and they put us on the Zoom, and just listening to them reminisce and talk about Ari was an incredible, incredible experience, because we remember all the things that took place that year, because Ari used to tell us the stories. We know these boys, and they've been in and out of our lives, and now they're stuck, because now they're never leaving, because they're part of our larger family that's here because Ari's not.
I want to start with Kamal, and I want to tell you that the emotion, that what you're feeling, the loss, is very real. And we try not to put labels on, because, like you said, you spend the most important and defining years of Rose's life. You were there for her when she was an excellent soldier and she was honored for it. You were there. You got the call and you were there immediately, 2 days before, and then you were there. And she had you. When she was looking to the audience, I'm sure she wanted to see her parents, but she had family. So try to hold on to that, because what you gave to her, she gave you back. And when I look at you, I think I look at you as Rose family. And I'm sure that everybody's here and everybody's watching and is going to watch it later will feel the same. And the same with you. Because what you lost is very, very present, and it's with you. And I can tell you, it's been a while, almost 24 years for me, and it's still with me every day, present. What I heard from all of you is the support that you got, not only from the Israeli people, for the community here in Israel, but you're getting the support from communities around the world. The diaspora is involved and is part of the loss, and I think the diaspora needs our support as well. And when we allow them to be part of our loss, when we allow them to participate by honoring the fallen, talking about them, teaching young children about them, we are strengthening the connection. And if I would take one thing from this special evening, is to continue to connect to the Israeli people and to the diaspora, and through happy times and good reasons. And thank you for what you said about the connection to Zionism and the identity. You were talking about the identity. We should continue to work on that. And like I said before, it's been an honor to be part of your families since the beginning of the war and to get to know your stories and your connections tonight. And thank you.
Inbal, thank you first of all very much for moderating. We have a few announcements I'm going to ask you to hold. First of all, I want to thank all of you. I don't know, for so many things, for your children and for your family, for the participation of everything, of what you're going through, what you're sharing with us. I'm in a very uncomfortable position. I actually have connections with many of you in different ways. Isha Kodesh, his brother, and I, we were in the same community for many years. And Yair, I know the father, I know the family, and what a special family they are. Nadav Nola, his father is a very close friend of myself and my family. Rose I learned about in her heroism and listening and learning. And fortunately or fortunately, I got to hear the stories about Ari and all the emotion and the feeling that all of you have. And it just establishes what a small country we are, that we can have such connections, that we're so close to each other, that we can share the pain. Not as much, obviously, as you all have, but that we feel the pain. I wanted to thank Orit from WIZO very much for organizing this, and the Tara from AACI, who worked with Orit to have this evening to learn, the people who have followed us on the road. As Tara mentioned, AACI, one of our projects is working to bring the Jewish world together. We have a ceremony on April 27th in honor of the fallen, the recently fallen. Last year, from just to give you an idea, from October, from the Battle of Tel Chai, where Yosef Trumpeldor fell, until October 6th, there was 360 people from our community that fell. From October 7th to today, it's over 90. It's over 90 fallen. So almost a quarter, approximately a quarter in just 1 year. So please pass that on. The website has the names of all the fallen, and anyone who goes to the AACI website, AACI Remembers, and looks up the fallen, if there's any information that's not correct there, please send it to Atara through the website, and we will like to collect it. If you have any other information on fallen, please be in touch with us. There's an active community committee that works on this to try to honor all the fallen. AACI works also to work in connecting Israel and diaspora, as I mentioned, through this website, through the information, and also trying to especially deal with the university students. There was a discussion about what happens overseas and the anti-Israelness of the world. And so we have a program where we bring together university students from Israel and university students from the diaspora together to talk, to make a relationship, to humanize the understanding of what's happening between us, and that's what we're doing. To everyone, thank you again very much. Chag Sameach to everyone. Should be a better year. It should be Besora Tovot, and thank you again. Good evening.